डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Dear students, I Dr. Shivang Patel, Associate Professor from School of Computer Science, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, welcome you all from the Chaitanya studio of Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. In the lecture series of Python programming, in previous session we have discussed functions, how to create function, how to call functions, functions that can be useful to perform some small task repeatedly. Then we are using the concept of function. Now in today's session, we are continuing with some advanced topic, that is module in Python programming. So after completion of this unit, you will able to understand what is module, use of module in the program, and understand different types of modules. Now basically you already aware with the function, as in the previous session we have discussed the function. So if you want to perform some of the task repeatedly, some small task repeatedly, then you are using the concept called function. So the use of function make your program modular. So now in this unit we have to focus on the modules. So normally the program is not a smaller programs. There are multiple line of code, or you can say that the size of the program that is bigger. In that case, it is advisable to break your code into small some sections, right? So that sections can perform separately, and those sections or whatever the program that you are dividing into some of the segments, that will be considered as the module. So normally what happen, it is need to store the function definition for a longer period of time. Suppose you are having a long code, the size of the code is long, or the complex program that you are performing, or any application that you are working. In that case, if you are creating multiple functions in your code or in your application, then it is required to store for a longer time. So it is better to store that small code or small modules for a longer time, and whenever it is required, you can simply call in your program or in your application. That's why the concept of module that arise. Now modules and its types. So basically whatever the module that you are going to discuss, we are in this unit. So basically it is nothing but the file. How you can implement, how you can create the module in the Python. So it is nothing but the simple Python file. Whenever you want to create any module, you have to create simple Python file, and you have to store it with .py extension, right? So whenever you are creating any module, that module contains any executable statements. It may be some function definitions, it may be some classes, right? So that file, you can say the module, that is nothing but the combination of multiple things, executable statements, function definitions, as well as class. So whenever in your program, suppose you want to use that particular function definition or particular class or particular statement that can be executable, in that case you just simply use whatever the features of that module into your code or in your application. So you can import that module into your program. So whatever the features or characteristics that are available in that module, you can able to access, you can able to use in your program. This way you can use module in your program. Say for example, here you can see on the screen, suppose we have given the name mymodule.py, right? So that is our file in which we are storing different definitions, function definitions, or executable statements or class. So mymodule, that is the name of the module, and .py, that is the extension. Now suppose you want to use that file in your code. In that case, you have to simply import that particular module. Now basically two types of modules are there. One is standard module, another is user defined module. As you already aware, in the previous session we have discussed, Python is a rich set of libraries, right? So there are number of inbuilt modules, or you can say that the libraries are available, and you can simply call those libraries, and whatever the features available inside those libraries, or you can say that whatever the statements or definitions available in those libraries, you can simply use in your code in your application. That is nothing but the standard module. Say for example, in the previous session we have discussed, if you want to use suppose value of pi, right. So, pi, that is 3.14 that you already aware. So, that value belongs to one specific module, that is math module. Now, the math module that is already available in the Python interpreter, right. So, the standard modules that are already available with that interpreter of the Python, you are not requiring to code separately. That is why it is considered as the standard modules, right. So, Python is a rich set of libraries and rich set of modules. You have to use those modules by simply importing. Now, suppose second type of module, that is custom module. If some of the modules that you want to create at your own, or the user that will create that particular code, that is considered as the custom module. According to your requirement, you are creating a module and you are including some of the function definitions, some of the executable statements as well as the classes as per the application specific or as per the user requirement, then those modules are considered as the custom modules. They are separate or they are different from the standard module, as standard modules are stored in the interpreter. By default it is available with the Python, but the custom module or the user defined module, they are not inbuilt available. When the user that will create according to his or her requirement, then it will be created. That is considered as the custom modules, right. We will see one by one demonstration how both the modules that can be used in the program. So, what is the basic syntax to call the module in your program? So, basically you have to use the keyword import. Then after you have to specify the module name. You can see on your screen import, then after the module name. Say for example, if you want to call the inbuilt module math in your program or in your application, in that case you are writing the statement import and then after math, because math is the inbuilt module. So, it is not required to code separately. The same way, suppose you are creating some custom module or user defined module, and if you want to if you want to import that module into your program, the same syntax you have to use, that is the import keyword and then after the module name, right. Now, as we have discussed that module contains executable statements, function definition as well as the class name. Now, we will see one demo so you can get more idea. Say for example, if you want to use math module, that math module, that is the inbuilt module available, right. So, in the editor you can use, or you can use your Python command interpreter, that is the black screen available. Now, suppose you want to import some module. Why? Because you want to use whatever the definitions inside that module. So, you have to use import, that is the keyword, then after math, right. So, now this module, all the features you can going to access after writing this statement. Now, normally what happen, someone having some confusion if you have to write that statement at the beginning of your program or not. So, it is not the mandatory to write this statement in the beginning of your program or in your application or in your code. You can write anywhere, but normally the scenario that it is in the beginning of the code, right. It is not the thumb rule, but whenever if you want to use some of the features of that module, it is advisable to write that module. Say sake of simplicity for the programming, it is advisable to write in the beginning, but it is not the thumb rule. Now, suppose you want to use any of the constant in that particular module. Say for example, I would like to print the value of pi. So, I can use math.py. So, you can see that value that will be printed, right. Now, what are the things that are available in this module? If you want to see, you have to use the command dir. So, I am using this command dir and then after the module name. After executing this command, you can see on the screen there are multiple names are there, multiple single quotation values are there, some of the constant values are there. So, whenever you are using this dir command, so whatever the constants or whatever the function names are available in that particular module, that will be displayed in sorted order, right. Say for example, double underscore name, that represent the name of the module. So if you want to print the name, then you can write math, then after double underscore name, as you observe in the previous output, then after one more parenthesis, that is not required. So you can see math, that is the module name. So pi, that is already available 3.14, so value will be displayed because it is the constant. Now some inbuilt functions are also there, say for example trigonometric functions are there, logarithmic functions are there, square root functions are there. Say for example I am writing this statement print and then after math.sqrt. As you already aware, sqrt, that is the inbuilt function to find out the square, right? Then if you are entering, then you can write it is built-in function square root. So if you are writing pi, that is pi, in that case it will give the value, but suppose you are entering some function name, it will define you that it is the built-in function. So this way you can identify whether it is the constant or whether it is the function name, right? So this way you can use inbuilt function. Now suppose in the math module we have seen multiple constant values are there, multiple function names are there, but suppose it is not required to use all those functions in your program, you are requiring some specific function, then it is also possible with this syntax from, then after the module name, and then after you have to import some of the definitions, right? You can observe on the screen, you can write from, then after module name, say for example our module name is math, then after import, then after multiple definitions that we have to write with comma separated, right? So only those definitions that can be included or imported in your program, not the others, right? Now suppose you are requiring multiple definitions or all the definitions, then you can use the operator asterisk, right? So you can write here from, then after module name, then after import and asterisk, right? This is same as if you are including some of the definitions with comma, but here you are requiring all the definitions, then you can use asterisk. So you can use any of the syntax, simply you can write import, then after module name, or you can use the keyword from as well as the import and definition name, or if you want to use all the definition, then you can use with the asterisk sign. These are the different syntax available. Now we are moving with one demonstration, so you can get more idea. Say for example we are working with that math module, so our first statement, that is import math. So here all the features, or you can say that all the constant or all the functions that are already defined in the math module, now you can able to access in your code because you have written that statement import math, right? Now suppose I am defining or one function, say for example def, that is area. I am passing radius as an argument. Now this function will return area. What is the formula for area? Pi r square. So if you want to use the value of pi here, so you can write here math.pi, because pi belong to this module, that's why you have to follow this syntax. Then after multiply radius and again radius. Now you can ask value from the user for radius, or directly you can pass here. Say for example I am taking r, that is one variable. Typecasting is required because you are requiring here to convert from string to integer. Input function I am using because you want to take value from the user. Now we want to calculate, so we are calling this function area. I am passing the value r, then after I am printing that value, that area. Now suppose you are executing your code, so it will ask me for the radius. Suppose I am entering the value 5, it will display the result, right? So this way you can use any of the module by using import statement. So this is all about the inbuilt module. Now suppose you are requiring to use any custom module, right? Then what happen? The same concept that you have to use. Math, that is the inbuilt module, right? So it is available in the Python interpreter. But suppose we want to create our own module according to our requirement. In that case, we have to create user defined module. Say for example, we are creating one user defined module circle.py. So as we have already discussed, if you want to create module, simply you have to store that file with particular module name and the extension .py, right? So I am using here, say for example, one function I am using, you can use data type or you can use directly. Say for example, here you can use 3.14, or suppose you are inputting or entering import math module, then you can write here math.py, then after r into r. Now this definition I am storing into one of the programs or one of the file. I am saving this file with circle.py, right? So this is my custom module. I am storing this definition. Now suppose you want to use this file into another program, right? So another program, in that case, how you can use? So if the inbuilt function, inbuilt module you are using, then you can write import math. Now we are using or we want to use that custom module. So what is the file name for our custom module? That is circle. So you are using circle here. So whatever the function definitions available in that circle module, now you can able to use in your program here, right? Now say for example, you are entering the value for radius 5, you want to calculate answer, you want to call this function area. Now this will create or generate error message because area that is not defined here. Area is where defined? It is in the circle, right? So you can write here circle, then after dot and then after area. So whenever you are writing this statement, Python interpreter will execute this statement and the area function definition that will search in the module circle that we have already imported, right? So this way you can use, you can see in here screen, that is the example. See here, number you are entering, that is the inbuilt module, factorial that we have discussed, custom module that we have created, that is circle.py. You can observe on the screen we have defined one area function, that definition that is available in the circle module. Now another definition we have created, that is circumference. Third definition we have created diameter. So all these three functions that are responsible to calculate three different problems, right? Now suppose we want to use this module in our program, then we have to use import and then after the circle. Now observe here in the first line, import circle as C. So if you don't want to type every time circle, in that case you can replace that circle with C, that is nothing but the alias, right? So you can write here area equal to C dot area. So here area function that will search from the circle module, right? So this way you can use the custom module in your program, right? So now we are concluding our session. In today's session, we have discussed how to create module. We have already used two types of module. One is standard module, another is user defined module. If you want to access module, if you want to use module in your program, we have discussed you can use the import statement. If you want to use some of the definitions, in that case you can use from, then after module name and then after import, and whatever the definition you want to import you can use. Now in the next subsequent sessions we are dealing with few more advanced concepts. Till then, happy learning, happy coding.
स्वाध्यायः